Hey, how are you guys doing? Going live today. What's up? What's up? How's everyone's weekend doing? Ooh, I'm gonna let a couple people get in here. Give me 1 second. Here we are. Yeah, how's everyone's weekend going? Whew. Oh man, it's been hot. Although not as hot as Arizona, but I was kind of expecting it to feel a little better. Ooh, what's this? People already asking questions. Nice, nice. I like it. I like it. Um, With this, I'll answer a few questions, and then I might get into some broader topics. So actually, I think it's actually quite interesting. Somebody here is asking about the ES or the SDR, or potentially the future ESDR. Oh, so I guess I'll go into that first. So the SDR is the special drawing rights provided by the IMF to essentially collectivize or create a collection of different currencies settled by the IMF for different governments to be able to make settlements with each other in large amounts. And a lot of people have their speculations on the ESDR being replaced by cryptocurrencies to provide broader liquidity and such. Um, but it's kind of a general breakdown. If you really want to get into it, because a lot of people sort of speculate it being on XRP being the technology, or even Hyperledger, Corda, whatever. It may be a collection of them, but that's kind of the biggest assertion people make when they talk about the ESDR is people seem to assume that whatever crypto that they're interested in, not that they're wrong, is the one, but it could very easily be a collection of them. I have a question. How did you meet Maddie G? Oh, that is so funny. So I'll touch on this real quick. So I met Maddie G because I watched like a lot of crypto YouTubers, and like I watched Matty G because he's funny and he just says crazy stuff. And one day I was just like just cruising his channel, like just watching some video, and I was just like he was talking about Corda actually, and I was like, look, I work on like at the time I was working on it almost every day, and I was like, look, I work on these, like I could totally talk about these, and I sort of like I actually have a screenshot of my original post on his comments on one of his videos. I have that original post where I basically like invited myself on. I'm like, yeah, dude. So I develop on these platforms. Like I work on them a lot. You could do this, you could do that. You should totally have me on. And then the comments went crazy, and they were like, get him on. Oh my god. And Maddie reached out. He's like, yeah, just DM me on Insta. And DM me on Insta, and I did. We talked, had a quick call, like got into some tech, and then things just totally blew off. Totally crazy, totally crazy. Did not anticipate it. I thought I was just gonna go on his channel for a second, and I thought I was gonna go on his channel for a second, and I don't know, kind of just like talk from my perspective. I was really like sitting at home or sitting at work bored, going like, maybe I don't know, maybe I could, talk about the tech a little bit, see what people thought, and it literally just lost its mind from there, and then just spread like wildfire. But let's take a look at these. So I'll answer a few more questions before I go into the broader topic I wanted to talk about. No, you guys are absolutely awesome. Just the absolute amount of like support that you guys have given for me through everything has just been like so humbling. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of just like I'm just some dude that talks about tech, and I never thought I'd ever get this type of attention for this. So absolutely thank you guys for that. Oh, that's funny. So somebody said you once said that you measure your value in gold and XRP, not fiat. Yes, any sort of broader value that I wanted to do in a any sort of like obviously like I'm not gonna like value my coffee at Starbucks in gold or something. So obviously I have to use fiat. But in terms of like pricing homes, pricing stocks, pricing really commodities and assets, I think it's a lot better to use gold as a fundamental asset. And then, well, the reason why I use XRP is because I kind of like doing so. Obviously it's not so stable because of the volatility, but it's something I want to get used to because like it's a technology I believe in. Part of believing the technology is valuing things in that technology, and obviously the volatility adjusts the prices now. But part of it is once the volatility starts subsiding, I can get more accurate readings on how much things may cost in XRP. Another reason why I also value things in XRP too. Also, I value things in XDC is whenever I move into crypto, I want to make sure I can value my entire portfolio by how much XRP or how much XDC I may have. And that's just a value proposition I may have, mostly because I moved into one of those two cryptos. So if I'm looking at my general portfolio, I don't care how much it is in fiat, and I typically value it in XRP or XDC in that case because I want to see if I were to liquidate my portfolio in such a manner to where I hold those two coins or those handful of coins, I want to see how much they would be. And it's not because I'm just in love with them, which I am, but it means that if I wanted to grab liquidity for, like, let's say I wanted to have XRP, but I only have 10,000 XRP and I have 20,000 XRP in other assets. I want to be able to make sure that I can liquidate those other assets for XRP to do the business need that I may have. So that's part of the reason why I do that too. Yeah, I see a lot of comments about the coded tweets. It's so funny. I've gotten so many responses to my little like coded tweets. So kind of the whole deal with that was I kind of started it because like obviously like everybody here knows about the riddlers and stuff. And I thought like the riddlers are kind of silly. So I was like, what if I just kind of like had a little decoded tweet with like a little message in there that was something silly. And what I was kind of thinking was I was like, like this really is like a cool little exercise for people because you look at these little hash or these little like digits and you're kind of like, what? And I thought it was gonna be kind of cool because it's like a little like you can go like figure these things out and solve them, and it's sort of the same like thought process to sort of figure something out in general. So I'm like, hey, look, we can sort of like expand upon these, get them to be more dynamic, more crazy, whatever. And I kind of want to do that too because I think it's like a little like it's like a little treasure hunt to find the missing tweet, you know? It's kind of cool. And usually in those types of tweets, I want to put stuff that I normally wouldn't talk about just because I want it to be sort of like you got to work for that information in a sense. Not that you really have to. Like within 10 minutes, somebody posts whatever I tweeted, like decoded into the messages. But I think it's kind of fun. I think some people would really. I think some people would really enjoy it, and I think it's stimulating. I think people could go, "Ooh, this is interesting. I don't get to see this on Twitter every day," and like it's not something abstract and random, like some weird, cartoon account saying something. It's literally concrete to where you could decode it. It says something silly. It's funny. But why I don't know why this keeps being something that's asserted. So somebody asked why XDC when it has an unlimited number of tokens. It literally doesn't. There's a $37 billion max, and there's a $12 billion circulating supply. Now, one reason I hear this is people keep saying, "Well, Coin Market Cap." Well, Coin Market Cap. You do realize Coin Market Cap is trying to collect a bunch of data from a ton of different tokens, and they're like wrong all the time. You're better off just going to the developer docs of the token you're suggesting and seeing like the actual like from the horse's mouth. I hear this all the time, and I'm like, this makes no sense. I don't understand where you're hearing this from, and you're hearing it from something that's not the original source. So yeah, there is no unlimited supply. I don't know where people get that from. It makes no sense. You could literally go to like Zimpin. You can literally go and like see like the actual. You can actually see like the limited cap, whatever it may be, and it seems like a lot of just comes from confusion from third party sites that just have weird reporting errors, which I don't know why people rely so hard on third party sites when you can go directly to the source for everything. You can go directly to on chain management sources. You can go directly to the documents. You can go directly to like all the developer stuff that they're talking about. Like going to third party sources, in my opinion, is just not a good way to go about it when you're trying to do effective research because I don't understand how people got that. Let's see. And what's the chat looking like? I might get into my spiel, I guess. So it looks like, oh, you got almost 200 people in here. All right, I might get into my spiel. So the whole reason I sort of started the stream, other than like live streaming because it's fun, was I had a video earlier about my philosophy in crypto, but it was just like a segmented video. I wanted to have a long form conversation talking about where I see the crypto markets going, where I see the general space going, what I think the future is going to look like, how do I think people are going to interact with each other, what do I think these broader ecosystems are going to do to replace the current ecosystems, and why does this all matter? Because I think the biggest thing that people like don't really get is, yeah, sure, we can explain the tech, and yeah, sure, I can explain like what it does, but like why does anyone freaking matter about any of this? Why should I even give it 10 seconds of my time to sit here and go, yeah, the technology is cool, but why? And there's a lot of reasons why. A lot of people seem to be focused on the currency and payment token portion of it, but that's not it. Like that's literally going to be that's like to show you how crazy it is. Like I think it's between 7 and 12% of any economy is finance, And that's exactly what crypto is going to be. It's going to be about 7 to 10% of any economy. And you're going to have all the, I think I'm pretty sure like healthcare is like 15%, pretty sure government's like 20%. There's going to be so many other things that make up the broader landscape of the future economic landscape of digital economies, rather than just the idea that we're just using value tokens to pay for things. And that's the thing you got to remember: the finance industry isn't even entirely just money. It's mostly all these intangible forms of wealth and packaged finance goods. It's not like, I would only say maybe of the 14%. Of that 14%, maybe 1% might be just straight cash, and the rest of it may be abstract forms of wealth. So I think it's really silly that people seem to be so focused and just so, I don't even know how to describe it. It seems people are so tunnel visioned in on the money portion that they totally forget that the entire world is going to be running off these decentralized networks, and they're going to be doing a bazillion different things, a bazillion different things, and it's going to be so like ingrained into how our society works that it's going to be no big deal. The same way that connecting to an app or website and connecting to a server and doing all that seems just normal. It'll be the same way with crypto. But it doesn't mean that because you connected to an app that had crypto on it, that you're automatically going to be dealing something with payments. You can be dealing with something with identification or medical technology, or you can be dealing with something in anything in any capacity other than money. The real question is, what's the limit? What's the upper limit of creativity that humans have to really expand this technology out? Because that's the real thing. You could literally just keep on going and going. There are people out here. There are probably people that haven't even been born yet that are going to create revolutionary new technologies with the technology that just create that came out like now. Like, so it's just this infinite explosion of innovation that's coming, and I think it's silly that we just focus on payments because there's so much more to that. But anyway, so let's get into it. So my biggest thing here is, well, let's start talking about tokens that aren't inherently currency tokens, because I want to put that off to the side for a second. And usually with that, if that's the case, we're probably gonna end up talking about NFTs, or we're probably gonna end up talking about smart contracts. Now, there are other things we can get into, like non-value utility tokens, or we can get into like reward points tokens, where you can actually cash out rewards points for some unit of value, even though that rewards points doesn't necessarily hold a nominal value. It's just a point, so like almost like Starbucks points, maybe. But that's the thing. Like, there's so much more when it comes to that. But let's get into NFTs first. So first, NFTs are just digital items uniquely identifiable on decentralized networks. I'm going to keep saying this over and over and over again until, like, I know it's going to sound annoying, but I hope people keep reiterating this. I'm getting so annoyed with people assuming that NFT is synonymous with picture. It's not. It's synonymous with a unique identifiable object on a decentralized network. It's easy to do that with a picture because you can take a picture and you can run it through a hash algorithm and get the NFT. But there are a lot of things that you can do that too. You can do that with any form of data. You could run it through and create an NFT, and then as long as that data is unique in itself, anybody else that showed that same replicatable data, it would show as an NFT as an ownership to you. And this could be anything, like your ID. This could be like your birth certificate. This could be like tickets. This could be like special keys that you have to access, like your car or your home or your hotel, or it could be passports. It could be I don't even know. Keep throw suggestions in the comments of what a potential idea of NFTs. I'm not gonna be the only one coming up with every idea for an NFT. There are gonna be people all over the world coming up with great ideas on how they can basically tokenize certain objects on the blockchain to be able to share and automate them with everybody over the world. Like, it's the absolute, like, to show you how big things are with these technologies. It's almost as if so far what's happened is it's been like a firecracker. And we're gonna see an absolute nuclear explosion. And it's not gonna be as fast as so like a nuclear explosion in Somo. This is a 20-year explosion. Like, you gotta remember when websites first came out in like 1994, it really wasn't until like maybe like the mid 2000s where it was fully integrated into everything. And even look at Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi's been around since the early 90s, but it hasn't become like free operational everywhere until like I said, the mid 2000s, maybe even later 2000s. So it's going to be a 10 to 20 year. And that's the thing, we've been 10 years in. So we've seen a bit of the explosion. So I guess you can't say it's been a firecracker. Let's say it's been I don't know. It's been an explosion, but we are nowhere near the overall level of explosive adoption yet. And that's because a lot of these tokens aren't going to be currency tokens. They're going to be digital identities or items, or used for inventory, or just I like I think I can't even name you all of them because there's almost an infinite the upper limit of bounds of things that can be created on these decentralized networks are entirely limited by the human imagination, whichever however much that may be. So it could be here, it could be here, it could be unlimited, who knows? But I'm not going to be the only one to come up with these crazy ideas for how to implement these things. There's going to be people all over the world doing this, and it's going to totally revolutionize everything. But that's the thing, like it very much grinds my gears when people just go, "It's a picture. It's a picture. I'm gonna buy an NFT picture." And I'm like, cool, it's a really good way to illustrate the concept, but like there's so much more. So much more. And yeah, I just wanted to lay that out there so we can get into some other things. So let's get into smart contracts and how these smart contracts are going to integrate with these ecosystems. So one thing that's really interesting about how NFTs could operate is because you're able to identify a unique object, you're able to automate that unique object. So like, and that's the thing too. So there's a handful of things that come into fruition that makes this possible. One, these decentralized networks are all like so if you're operating on a decentralized network and you have an NFT and you have other people operating on that network, you're able to freely exchange that token or whatever that identifiable object is quite natively. And it's hard to do that, even with a picture. So if I took a picture of something and I wanted to sell you the rights to it, the closest way I could do that is probably put together a contract and then like it's what I mean, like it's a very very manual thing, because anybody could just take a copy of it. And it doesn't mean you have a copy of it means they have the rights. It just means they have a copy of it. So if I was a news organization and I wanted to put up a picture of somebody that took, I would have to buy the rights from them. And that's the thing. It basically streamlines all that. So the rights are basically instituted into the token. You can essentially move that token throughout the network, and then you can automate that token throughout the network with a series of smart contracts. So now something that would have been entirely manual, like somebody putting together a bunch of contracts to sell something as simple as a photograph, like say it was a photograph of like LeBron James or something, and it was being sold, whatever as a poster, blah blah blah, and the photographer selling it. Well, he could just sell it on a decentralized network to the highest bidder almost live rather than sitting around trying to find a bunch of people to collaborate with to who are they going to sell this. And that's the thing. I use the image prop picture of this as a simple example. But let's use identification, right? Let's say you had an NFT passport and everybody that's going through the airport really all has to do is just scan their, like, let's say you had the NFT basically illustrated on a card, and all you have to do is scan the card to prove your passport. And that's the thing. If there's no fly list, or if you have like a pre-approved TSA, or if you have, I mean, hell, you can have your tickets paired. You could potentially have your passport as an NFT in a smart contract, and then have all of your tickets for your flights go to that smart contract. So when you illustrate your ID, you can execute the smart contract, validating that you're you and validating that you have a flight. Like you could do so many epic things with this, like so many things. And notice how that none of that required a picture. Like you could do so many freaking epic things with this. It's just, yeah, and look at this. Somebody put a comment here. How would you build the new internet information superhighway? I would build it in such a manner for everything to be interoperable with everything else, so everybody can have easy access to information, almost as quick and easy as everybody has access to information now. But the difference is instead of having to jump different siloed ecosystems, everybody can be connected to everybody else in the world all at once. And that's the thing that's going to happen. This is inevitable. I'm not going to be the one to do this. This is going to be something that's going to be happening over time with the entire ecosystem growing. And it's just there's so much people aren't talking about, and I feel disappointed because I want to talk about them, but then I've got to explain some of the like some context around it, and then I've got to explain how that context builds up, and then not everybody hears the context, and then I've got to go and explain it again so I can build it back up again, and it's just it's very difficult. Oh god, I'm getting just blasted with questions, so I'll answer a few questions real quick. How would you eliminate censorship? So one thing that you can do, and this is sort of just a general decentralization thing. Decentralization will help eliminate censorship. Now, this doesn't mean people can't censor. This means people can just self-censor or censor seeing things that they don't want to see. So instead of having like a general platform like Twitter, let's say you have a decentralized Twitter. Let's call it a, I don't know, DAP Twitter or Twitter, I don't know, whatever. And let's say instead of Twitter basically illustrating the rules of what you can and can't see, or can and can't do, can and can't say, what if each individual user on that platform can just pick and choose what things they want to be exposed to and what things they don't want to be exposed to? So in a general sense, no one's really being censored. Everyone's just filtering what they do and don't want to see. And nobody can determine who can and can't see what, because you're entirely determinate of whatever your filter is, and you get to choose that. So I think that's a good way that you can go about eliminating. And just in an example portion, there are different ways you can go about this, but I think that's one way you could do that. Let's see. Oh goodness, people are going in on these questions. So first off, I probably should have said this earlier. I'm not going to go too far into like buy this coin or explain this coin. I'm not. This isn't really like this isn't that type of video. So someone asked like, how do I feel about quant? Like Alp, some other ones. Like I'm not going to go into those. Maybe I'll make another live stream going explicitly or talking about different tokens. But this is more about the general landscape of how the technology is going to move into the future. Like, and that's the thing. One thing I want to get people away from is stop associating everything to one coin. There are a lot of different things that multiple coins can do. People just choose whether they want to do. Oh God, I actually forgot. So I just got a question here saying, do I do counseling? I totally forgot about this. So, yeah, I actually do counseling. I have a link in the description. I actually almost getting fully booked up. So if you want to do some one-on-one sessions, sorry if I kind of went off on a tangent there. I should have mentioned that earlier. But if you want to have a one-on-one session, my whole deal is to basically find out what you want and then build upon that. But yeah, if you want to have a one-on-one session, you can do that in the comments. Like almost totally forgot about that. But my biggest thing is I want to see where is this ecosystem going to go into the future? Can we build on it? And how can we expand ideas in such a manner to where people can start creating new things as opposed to reiterating things that other people have created? That's what I see a lot. I see that all the time when it comes to crypto. And it seems like it's almost like someone like look at Ethereum, right? It's almost like people are trying to create another Ethereum or to beat Ethereum rather than to just do a process that nobody's doing. You know what I mean? Or people are trying to be like, I'm going to be the new XRP, or I'm gonna do Bitcoin. And it's like, why don't you just be the new technology that revolutionizes the industry that you're trying to revolutionize, not try to be something else? Because what ends up happening is you see all these weird little clones and then they rip off of the code and then they try to be something else. And it's just, it's one of those things where the technology is gonna be doing so much more. And it's just silly that people are just so focused on very, 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 very new things as opposed to the broader landscape of what the possible future could look like, basically. Um, oh goodness, sorry about that. My foot went to sleep. Anywho, oh look at this. So, are there any good resources for teaching, or are there any good resources for teenager beginners that can learn coding development? What resources did you use outside of college? So first off, I didn't learn a damn thing about software development in college, like at all. None, zilch, nothing. No crypto, no broader ecosystem, or no broader infrastructure, automation, no coding. I didn't learn any of that in college at all. None, zilch. And I would tell you that the majority of software developers, even the ones that are in college, are probably learning a good portion of their stuff by just acting on the stuff that they're learning. It's one thing to go to college and go to class, but for a lot of people, it just ends up being a class. So at least for me, what I ended up doing was I learned everything myself. My biggest thing was I wanted to get into the technology when I was in high school. I signed up to Code Academy. I signed up to like Leak Code. I signed up to like a bunch of different other websites. And I would say go out and like search. There really aren't any like best sites. I'd say Code Academy is good for beginners, but there really isn't like a best site. It really just comes down to which one fits for you. And then when it comes to choosing whatever language you want to get into, like what's if you could build an app that did something, what would that be? And then find what different types of tools you need to build that, and then learn how to use those tools, and then build yourself up. That's sort of a general way you can go about that. But yeah, I learned everything myself. I originally was going to go to school for computer science, but then I said screw those classes. I was just gonna go for economics and then focus on the broader macro sense of econ, and then figure out how I can. Sorry, my legs asleep. And then figure out how I can automate that, as opposed to going in the automation route with coding and then figuring out the econ after. Which I'm kind of glad I did it the way I did, because I feel like the broader macro understanding is way more important than just the implementation. Mostly because if you can't explain the macro, nobody cares about the implication. The implication. Oh my god, I can't speak. Nobody cares about how you execute it. But anywho, um, oh yeah, I see people saying like slow down. Sorry. When I get excited, I just like my mind just speaks, or my brain goes so fast that I can almost see what I'm saying as I'm saying it. It's just that I'm already like 2 seconds ahead than my mouth is. So um oh gosh. I'm gonna see if I can stand up for a second. My leg is asleep and I'm literally gonna like fall over. Let me try to adjust this. Ugh, I'm sorry for the unorthodox nature of this. Ugh. Anywho. But my biggest thing is what can not only I do, but you guys watching, like what can we do to not only spread just the ideas that are being sort of proposed in blockchain technology, but what can we do to really make an impact on the people that don't really understand? And obviously, there are plenty of people in here that don't understand. So it's something that we're gonna have to address. But one thing that I see as kind of a constant theme for everybody is, and I hate this. It seems like the media is just kind of just spouting off whatever will get them the most views, and it just confuses people. And it's kind of like nobody's explaining anything, because why explain it if you can just get people excited over something? And that doesn't help, because if you're just getting people excited over things, then, well, how are we supposed to know that the thing that you're excited over is actually innovation rather than just a fad? So I kind of hate that, and how the media sort of structures crypto and sort of structures like everything involved with the technology, because it just confuses people way more than people already are confused. And that's why I think people like gravitate to me, because I kind of just lay it out. And even if it is confusing the way I laid out, at least you can sort of like follow the steps, as opposed to going like, okay, cool, but like, how does that work? What does that mean? Why does it matter? Like, you know what I mean? All the typical questions that I'm trying to like broadly go over now. But oh goodness, let's see. Getting a handful of getting a handful of questions about my trading bot. So I posted the algorithm to my trading bot to Twitter the other day. A lot of people were freaking out, like, "What does this mean?" I'll explain more of it in a YouTube video if I make it over 100,000. Make it over 100,000 subscribers. I don't think the like trading algorithm is like the greatest thing ever. Now, and it's one of those things where if you want to, you could, and you could try to build on it, and you could try to do something with the logic. I personally don't like trading bots, because I've seen bots go bad almost every time. Like, it's one of those things where unless you're gonna go ahead and like make a multi-million-dollar bot, I see the bot just go bad like all the time. I've seen that like in college all the time. That was kind of like the joke for a little bit. That like, oh cool, I've got a trading bot, and then like 6 months later, like you're broke and homeless. And it's not that the bot's bad; it's just that people get greedy, so they'll leverage more, and then the bot does more, and then something may go wrong, and they lose a ton of money, and their account gets wiped. And it's just, I've seen it too many times where I don't like it. But it's one of those things where if I was like, if I had to choose between like being homeless and putting together this bot, I'd just be like, screw it, I'll throw this bot together. But in a general sense, it makes me just so anxious. I get bad anxiety about the bot, because I'm always thinking like, oh God, is something bad gonna happen? Like, am I just gonna wake up and the bot's just gonna be dead, or am I just gonna be sitting there staring at the bot all day, making sure it's all good? Or maybe that's just me with having trust issues maybe that's just me having trust issues with different computers and different technological, because that's the thing I see, not only just bugs, but I've seen things just totally just glitch out entirely um in regards to building these like digital environments. Even if, no matter how well you build these things, there's always going to be something you never anticipate, and that's probably the thing that drives me the craziest when it comes to anxiety for these things. So that's why I don't really recommend bots, unless you're one of those guys that's just going to be, okay, whatever. Okay, I'm getting more of these questions with XDC and such. So XDC is not centralized. Whew. It's not centralized. It doesn't have an unlimited cap. I don't understand why people keep saying these things. Like, if you're very confused about this, and I'll make more videos about this, talking about what makes certain networks centralized and decentralized. You got to remember, the majority of the crypto networks that are being pushed out there are doing what they can to be decentralized. Now, there's a bunch of reasons why some of these networks are becoming more centralized, but it really has to do with the amount of nodes on the network and what nodes are coming on and offline the network. And if you're not going to really like bring that up in regards to who's centralized and who's not, then you're not asking the real question of what makes it centralized or not. So yeah, like XDC is not centralized. It makes no sense. Um, anywho, uh, anywho. So I don't think I'll make this video or make this live stream too much longer. I just kind of want to just speak my mind in a sense. I like streaming; it's cool. And I like making videos and such. I've been making TikToks for a little bit. So if you like what I have to say and you kind of want shorter form videos, you can check me out on TikTok at Coin Club Crypto. So I've been kind of getting into TikToks and kind of getting more into like content creation. One thing I guess I'll say, like ending it on this note in a sense, or not really ending it, but sort of like wrapping things up. I might go on for another like 10 minutes. Sort of wrapping things up on this note. Um, so one thing that's totally just like blasted me in the face, like just recently with all this going on, is like I'm spending more time. It's kind of crazy. I'm spending more time like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all social media and such, and less time like building, and it's sort of like eating away at me a little bit. I'm like, oh, like I need to like obviously drop videos because I want to be able to drop videos. I obviously need to be able to like, kind of keep up a social presence. But it seems like I'm spending more and more time on that than I am on like actually building the things I was previously building. It sucks. I feel like I haven't coded in like a week and a half. And part of that is because like I came up to Cali now, so I'm in Cali and I'm doing a bunch of stuff too. So that's kind of gotten in the way. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like I want to spend more time. I want to spend more time expanding on what I can do with the technology than I can simply explaining it. But it's not that I don't want to explain it. I want to be able to explain it and then build on it so other people can understand it and then build on that and then other people can understand it and then they can build their ideas and then people can be able to conversate in such a manner that's intelligent and be able to build these applications rather than just say to the moon or what coin should I buy or and that's the thing, you don't need to be like a big brain genius to understand all these things. It'd just be nice to go, oh yeah, this product protocol does this protocol does that. Did you know that this could do this? Did you know that this smart contract could do that? It's very good to have like these like nice conversations on what these technologies can do so people can have a general understanding on what they're investing in rather than the broader idea that they're investing in a future currency, which a lot of these will be, but there's so much more. And it's just it definitely gets to me because it's like I do not have enough time. I do not have enough hours in the day for everything, and I've got consulting coming up. And honestly, like that's not even a problem because I did consulting. I'm doing consulting now because I quit my previous job, and I honestly like love way more explaining the technologies to people to actually care than explaining the technology to somebody that's just like just make it work, even though it already worked and they wanted me to explain it, but they didn't want me to explain it for 10 minutes. They wanted me to explain it for 30 seconds, like so I definitely like what I'm doing now. It just feels like it feels like I'm spending more time as a content creator than I am as a dev, and it just makes me feel sad because I love spending like I could spend like 6 to 12 hours straight working on whatever I'm working on, and just feel like I'm in the zone. And I feel like that with like kind of talking too, and I talk about these too. It's just I don't know. It's not the same. Like I love explaining things. I love talking about them. I love like sort of sharing things. It's just not the same, you know. Someone's saying you should code live here and screen share with ambient background music. So I could do that, but it's not as interesting as you guys think it'd be. So I've seen multiple. There's basically two types of coders I've seen that do this. Either one, you kind of have like the content creator interactor coder that will tell you everything they're doing and explain everything and blah blah blah. And then you got the ones that are just sitting there staring at the screen, thinking for hours on end, and like, and that's the thing. I'm like this thing. It's not that interesting. It's not that you need to be one or the other. I'm just more of the I'm going to think of something super conceptual, and then it may take me an hour conceptually to think of it, and then it may take me another 2 hours to sort of go over it in code, and then maybe another hour sort of debugging it, and then maybe another hour testing it, and then that's the thing. Like of all that time, maybe 60% of it would just be me staring at the screen, either thinking to myself or scrolling through a bunch of tabs, basically looking for something online that I'm trying to do to implement whatever I'm trying to implement. So it's like I don't doubt people would watch it. I just don't think it'd be anywhere near as interesting as people would anticipate it to be. Now, what I thought about doing was I might put together like maybe a basic smart contract on Zinfin or something, and then after it's already built, then go over the explain. So it's not like you're sitting there for hours. It could be like a 10-minute video that explains everything, executes it, shows the output, and then maybe I can have another piece of code that can execute it from an outside source, and I can do a bunch of different things like that. I think that'd be a bit more interesting for the crowd I'm going for. But but yeah, most of the programmer YouTubers I see, and that's the thing, the ones that can really talk about it and really get into it are usually more like very, very, very adjusted to YouTube. So trust me, it's not as entertaining as you may think, even if I am explaining it, just because it's really technical. So and don't get me wrong, some people really like it, and oh my gosh, some people really like it, but that's just it. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at these. I just got asked like a bazillion times, like, why are people asking me about communism? Um, how about this? That question to communism. I'm sorry if I stopped. I just think it's so funny. So I don't know if you guys have ever watched Dreg. He's a YouTuber. He kind of does like commentary and like a lot of parody stuff. And he kind of has like this whole like, and the reason I'm going into this is because of the communism thing. He has this whole like skit with like communism, capitalism, like just a bunch of other just ideologies. And the reason why I say that is I'm sort of like just because of his series, I think it's so funny. I consider myself ironically an ANCAP. Not that I'm like hardcore an ANCAP. I consider myself a capitalist, but just the amount of like just hysteria going on his channel, just from the amount of inside jokes he has on that, kind of makes you go like, oh yeah, dude, I'm an anarcho-capitalist. Anything goes, right? No, But no, I don't think communism. You got to remember, communism is entirely rooted off of central control. So everything that crypto has to do with is entirely counteropposed to communism. Like, so it's kind of silly to. I don't know, and it's one of those things too where central powers can't adjust for everything. So obviously, a simple mistake could scale out way larger than than a simple mistake in a decentralized network, or even in a network in a sense that doesn't have too much centralization. So when things crack, they don't break across the board. I think that's one of the biggest issues with centralized control economies. But yeah, that's basically it. Like people are, oh my gosh. Um, anywho. But I just kind of wanted to sort of speak my mind, philosophy in a sense, general crypto talk, I guess. I didn't really have too much to go into. I was really like contemplating whether or not I should live stream or not today anyway. But I was like, ah, screw it. I was gonna go outside and do some stuff, but it's just too hot. So I'm like, "Ah, whatever. But no, I hope you guys learned some stuff. I hope you were able to, at the very least, sort of expand your idea of what a lot of these preconceived notions on crypto are. Because I want people to take their own ideas and then implement them into crypto. Because the majority of ideas that have been implemented in crypto have not been like into fruition yet. Like we are in a minority of different products that have been created on crypto right now that could be created on crypto. The same way that when the internet first came out, the amount of products that were created on the internet then doesn't compare to the amount of products on the internet now. And same thing's gonna happen with crypto. So I wanted people to expand their idea of what they looked at as crypto and really get a chance to like engage in a manner that they normally don't with a lot of other YouTubers. So I hope you learned a bit. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.